Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I'm bringing you the first in a series of videos where I'm going to be talking about calendars. Don't worry, they're comic-related calendars. It's the Mighty Marvel calendar line. So, Marvel's done calendars sporadically through the years, but I'm specifically going to be looking at their original line of calendars, which came out from 1975 to 1981. I have a complete set of them. I'm going to be showing them in order over the coming weeks and months. Although, I currently don't have access to my 1981 calendar because I had that on display and it fell down behind my giant 200-pound desk and I haven't been able to retrieve it. So, hopefully by the time I get to 1981 in my show and tell, I'll have retrieved that one. I will say 1981 was the hardest of the calendars for me to get. But I love these calendars. What's great about the Marvel calendars, less so with 75, but more so with the later calendars, is that they all feature like the stable of Marvel's best artists, but particularly starting with 76, you start to get some really interesting combinations of great artists that are drawing characters they don't usually draw. And in most of the later calendars, the art is unique to the calendar. In this first one that I'll be going through in this video, 1975, there's more use of existing art and more pastiches. In some cases I can't, and more like house artists. Some of the cases I can't really identify the artists on these. Whereas on the later ones, most of the time it's very obvious who's doing it. And there's just some fantastic artwork. So we're going to dive right in here, starting with the Mighty Marvel calendar for 1975. And I'll show you the back cover. Marvel's on the move. Funny thing, 1976 has the same back cover. So when Marvel says they're on the move, they're not moving very quickly. But super cool group shot of all the Marvel heroes circa 1975. And really, since this is for 1975, this calendar came out at the end of 1974. And this is a pastiche of existing artwork featuring the various Marvel characters. A lot of characters on here that you wouldn't be seeing represented on a Marvel calendar now, but they were higher profile at the time. Like, you got a two-gun, no, that's the Rawhide Kid over there. There's multiple pictures of Conan for some reason. But you have like It the Living Mummy is on here and so forth. So, but again, it's a cool pastiche of original art. So open the calendar and you get this here. So we have the Once and Future Marvel, 1974, 1976. And then you have the 1975 at a glance, where it shows you each of the months, which are themed to different heroes and teams. So January, Spider-Man month. February is Doctor Strange and the Defenders. March is Power Man. April is Vision and the Avengers. May is Conan. June is the Fantastic Four. July's Captain America. August are supervillains. September's Thor. October is Marvel Horror. November is Daredevil, and December is Hulk. So let's just jump right into it. And we start off with a John Romita joint here. Happy 1975. Now, a lot of the art in this particular calendar, it has this sort of almost painted look to the artwork. Like you can really see it like on Peter's face, not the sort of traditional comic artwork, but they've given it this like extra layer of sort of polish. Got the whole cast of the book at that time. And then the down below has a bunch of cool stuff. So every day, you know, they've got different things. Like it'll have like Don Heck's birthday. John Romita's birthday, but it also has stuff like here it says January 2nd, Spider-Man #1 was on sale 12 years ago this month. So there's lots of cool trivia, things like that. So, here we have Doctor Strange and the Defenders, credited to Frank Brunner. Now, Frank Brunner has done the Doctor Strange image, yes. The other Defenders, not so much. But Frank Brunner's Doctor Strange is one of the highlights of 1974, and he's just absolutely killing it. March, we have Power Man. Now, this is blown up from the cover of Power Man #17, where he changes the name of the title, changes from Hero for Hire to Power Man, and he takes on the code name Power Man. Like I said, most of the later calendars, the art is unique, but in this case, it's not. And it's the same for the next month, April. So here's the Avengers, but they're cobbled together from a number of different covers with different artists. So we've got the classic John Buscema Vision from the cover of Avengers 57, but colored differently. But it's clearly like a I want to say it's a Don Heck, Scarlet Witch, and then I'm pretty sure it's a Sal Buscema Captain America, and I recognize like the Iron Man. I recognize the characters, but now that I'm getting older, I'm having trouble identifying where they're from. But like I recognize the pictures. Shout out anyone out there want to tell me specifically where these are from. Part of me thinks this Captain America is from the Cap from the 50s storyline in Captain America, but I can't place all of them. Here's a tremendous Barry Windsor Smith Conan. Just the fine details. It's really fantastic. This is one where I don't know. I think this might be unique to this. I'm not sure. Might have been like in a Conan, like a giant size or something. But I haven't seen it before. Here's the Fantastic Four. And you'll note at the time, Medusa is a member of the Fantastic Four instead of the Invisible Woman. So there's a snapshot in time for you. Here's a cool Captain America and the Falcon pinup with a flag. And what I like to do, I haven't done it in a while, but I used to do this more regularly when my calendars were a little bit easier to access. They're a little bit hard for me to get to now. But I would periodically just flip the months. I wouldn't necessarily keep track of the current month, but rather I would just change the artwork. And since I have 6 of these up on display in my office here, every so often I'd just change and I'd suddenly have like an entirely different art display here in my office. Here are the supervillains. It's interesting who they chose to put on here, who they think are like the main supervillains, I guess, of Marvel. Because we've got Doctor Doom, Kang, the Red Skull. Okay, yep. And we have a lot of a lot of Spider-Man villains and Fantastic Four. So we've got the Super Skrull and the Mole Man, and then we got a lot of Spider-Man villains. So the Lizard, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Vulture, and Kraven the Hunter. So it's interesting that it was basically and Atuma and the Executioner. You can just barely see their heads back here. But for the most part, it's like a lot of Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, Kang from the Avengers, and couple Captain America people, and then it's just like, whatever. So here's an interesting one. I mentioned that like almost painted effect. So for September is Thor. Now this is very clearly a it's a Jack Kirby art originally, but they've gone really heavy with the like softening and of the artwork to the point where it's almost unrecognizable. And I don't know how much of that is trying to, gussy things up for the calendar, and how much is them not wanting to really use Kirby art, like identifiable Kirby artwork. But it's just a really cool picture with Thor and Asgard, and it's got Odin. It's got the whole cast of thousands here in Asgard. So just a really, really cool, really cool. So November, we have the Marvel horror line at the time. So we got Frankenstein's Monster, who had his own series at the time. Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night, and Dracula from Tomb of Dracula. Really cool. It's signed MP is the signature. And I'm assuming it's Mike Plug. But again, this sort of like painterly effect really takes away a lot of the pluginess, which is too bad, because I prefer the pluginess. I prefer things as plugy as possible, just in my daily life. Daredevil, here's a Gil Kane. You can always tell Gil Kane, who was a regular artist on Daredevil for a while. I'm not sure he was still at this time, but he had been just a little bit earlier. Finally, we have Hulk and Santa. One of several times Hulk encounters Santa in these drawings at Marvel. Interesting. Looks to me like a Sal Buscema head, but I'm not sure the rest of it's drawn by him. It could be, and I could be wrong about it being Sal Buscema. But there's something about the way the face is colored differently that makes me wonder if this is actually someone redrawing the head and pasting it on over like a Herb Trimpe head or something. But and everyone knows how much I don't like the Hulk, so whatever. But that's December. So that's the 1975 calendar, which is really fun. And then we have this here, which is a Zodiac thing, and it says, a special bullpen bonus from Munificent Marvel: roll your own superhero or supervillain. And then it has all these instructions. Here's your own astrological disc, giving your zodiac sign, birthstone, flower, colors, numbers, and part of the body ruled by your sign. Now you can make up your own hero or baddie, just as mirthful Marie Severin did below with her own sign. And there's a character called the Gleaming Gladiator that she created using this. Now, everyone at home with their calendars is not Marie Severin. So I'm pretty sure that your average 8-year-old is not going to come up with something. But it basically just shows how the spinning the zodiac led her to creating this thing. And then they tell you to mail in your creations, and maybe they'll use in the comic, which seems like a great way to get a lawsuit. And then here they have a list of birthdays from other Marvel employees that were not important enough to list during the actual calendar. So it's like all sorts of people, like Sam Granger's birthday, Virginia Romita, and like Karen Mantlo, Dan Green, like a lot of people, and a lot of like well-known people that just weren't doing that much at Marvel. Gray Morrow, Alan Weiss, Keith Pollard, who had just started there at the time. So anyway, it's got all their birthdays here. So that's it, 1975. Again, not my favorite of these calendars, but it was sort of the first one they're getting their feet wet. Next time around, we'll be doing 1976, which is a fantastic calendar, and I'll tell all about that more later. But I love the 1976 calendar. So that's it for this time, and I'll see you next time.